Some leaders will blame everybody before they blame themselves. It's the team, it's the environment, it's communication, it's the economy, it's people don't want to do their job, it's the government, it's Trump. But the one conversation that they avoid is the one they have with themselves, the one in the mirror. Because weak leadership hates accountability, not because they don't understand it, but because accountability threatens their ego. And the moment a leader's identity is built more on appearing strong than actually growing, they start protecting themselves instead of leading their people. That's when blame culture starts. I'm sure you've seen it, you've been in it. That's when excuses become normal. That's when fear enters the environment. That's when leadership effectiveness starts dying in real time. And one of the biggest signs of weak leadership is not yelling, it's not aggression, it's not even incompetence. It's the inability to own what's theirs. Weak leaders avoid accountability because accountability feels personal to them. It feels like they're being exposed. It feels like they're losing control. It feels like weakness. So instead of taking responsibility, they start managing perception. They deflect, they shift blame, they over-explain, they justify their bad decisions, they find scapegoats. Oh, it's this department. They protect their image at all costs. And the crazy part is most organizations normalize this behavior, especially when leaders have the authority, the status, the tenure, or the influence to do so. Let me tell you something, right? A title doesn't make you emotionally mature enough to lead, because real leadership requires the ability to say, I was wrong. I mishandled that. I created the confusion. I should have listened better. I let my ego get involved. I failed in this moment. Weak leaders would rather protect their pride than to tell the truth. And this is where organizations start becoming unhealthy, because once the leaders stop taking accountability, everybody underneath them starts learning survival instead of ownership. People stop speaking up honestly. They stop taking risks. They stop being innovative. They stop giving feedback, and they stop trusting their leaders. Why? Because they realize accountability only flows downward. It doesn't flow upward. The team gets corrected. The staff gets blamed. The employee is the one who gets documented. They're the one who gets on a PIP or a coaching. The workers get labeled difficult, but leadership avoids the same standard they expect from everybody else. That creates resentment. That creates emotional disconnect. That creates passive aggressive work cultures. And eventually, people mentally check out long before they physically leave. Because nothing drains a team faster than leaders who never admit fault. Weak leaders don't avoid accountability because they're confident. They avoid it because they're fragile. See, secure leaders understand this. Accountability doesn't reduce your authority. It strengthens your credibility. But insecure leaders think accountability lowers their status. So they create defense mechanisms. They become masters at explaining instead of listening, controlling instead of reflecting, and blaming instead of developing. Some leaders are so addicted to protecting their image, they can't even hear feedback without becoming defensive. And when ego becomes louder than self-awareness, you already know growth is going to stop. And that's a dangerous place to be, because leadership without self-awareness becomes manipulation. Instead of solving problems, leaders start preserving narratives. And once that happens, truth becomes a threat inside the organization. That's why weak leaders often surround themselves with yes men, silence, emotional, safe people who won't challenge them. Because accountability requires humility, and humility threatens ego-driven leadership. Now, let me give you the real cheat code here. The strongest leaders that I've seen, that I've been around, were not perfect leaders. They were accountable leaders. They could walk into a room and say, that failure starts with me. I missed that. I own that. I own that decision. I miscommunicated that. We need to fix this, and I'm part of the problem too. That kind of leadership changes environments, because people can handle mistakes. People can handle imperfection. People can even handle hard decisions. But what destroys trust is leaders pretending they're never wrong. And that is the truth. The moment leaders stop being coachable, they stop being effective. Let me say that again. The moment leaders stop being coachable, they stop being effective. Simple as that. Because leadership is not about maintaining an untouchable image. It's about creating trust, growth, psychological safety, alignment, truth within the organization. And none of that can exist where ego rules the culture. Weak leaders avoid accountability because accountability forces self-confrontation. And a lot of leaders are comfortable confronting employees, but are not comfortable confronting themselves. And that's the difference. Real leadership is not about being able to be right. It's about being honest enough to grow, because every leader needs to grow. It's about having enough emotional maturity to admit, I need to do better. And honestly, some leaders would rather lose relationships, lose trust, and lose great employees before they lose their pride. And that is weakness, not strength. If this message challenged you, and I mean really challenge you, I really want you to sit with what I'm saying and ask yourself, do people around me feel safe enough to tell me the truth? Do I actually listen to feedback, or do I defend myself against it? Do I create accountability, or do I only demand it from others? Have I built a culture of ownership or a culture of blame? Because leadership effectiveness starts collapsing the moment your ego becomes more important than the truth. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, to unlock your leadership effectiveness, you must master the cheat code.